Okay, that's all wrapped up. On to minimum wage laws. We didn't really talk about a setup for a debate, so I just figure we won't worry too much about time. We got plenty of time, just you and me, so if you would like to drag on about a point, feel quite welcome.
Cool.
But I thought we'd start out just with a general thoughts on minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a little introduction. I thought I'd let you go first, unless you're not comfortable.
You know, I think it's semi-self-explanatory. I think, you know, it empowers people to do a base minimum in society of what you can live on. Cost of living, I didn't see in a single state that was less than $15 an hour. So I think something like a $15 an hour minimum wage to make sure that you have your basic necessities, I think is fair.
Okay. One of my objections is on a moral basis, and I guess that addresses it just being fair. I don't agree that it's fair just from on a basic level of taxation and taking money from many people and just handing it out. You're basically giving me my money back if I've put in, and people who haven't put in the same way are getting more out. So that in itself doesn't seem fair. So calling it fair seems, I guess it feels fair to the people getting the money who need it, but it's not going to feel fair to people who don't need it, or that's a marginal cost on them. But the extra taxes we're going to have to pay for something like that, unless you can talk, you know, huge amounts of the federal budget to switch to that, I guess. But even then, it's still morally, I don't think there's really an argument for it as much as there's a feel-good virtue type feeling that people get for saying it's just fair, as opposed to having a real moral flat principle on what's fair or not.
We're talking about minimum wage or taxation?
Oh, are minimum wages you're talking about going to be paid for by someone else? I mean, I think, right.
Yeah. Please explain. What do you mean by minimum wage is taxation for this connection? Please explain.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm off on UBI. I'm sorry. I totally started arguing a different point.
Okay. All right.
In my head, we talked, I was looking at my notes and I started some for our next two, and I looked down and I have the wrong piece of paper slid next to me. And that's why I was like, cool. Doesn't make sense. What? Oh, right. Sorry, my fault. But still the same moral argument, but for minimum wage, I think it's also unfair to not allow somebody the freedom to work for whatever wage they want. I mean, you say it's fair, but what if I want to be able to take someone else's job by offering a lower rate? But if I deal with that transaction with somebody, we both get in trouble. Maybe we just get fined, but if I continue to do it, eventually I'll be fined again and put in jail for being willing to work for a lesser wage. That's my freedom to choose an association with somebody else in an interaction. So mandating amount doesn't seem fair in that sense either, because again, you're taking away my right to choose a wage.
I mean, that's an interesting view of it. I don't, not sure how you get there. my right to work for less,
Correct.
I feel no need to worry about that right. Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever.
Um,
I have no moral problem with forcing you to get paid a minimum wage. Sorry.
I gotcha. But what if I can't get a job because it's 15, but I could get a job if it was $14.50? What if my skills aren't up to $15, so I never get hired? That's not fair.
You need a minimum wage to survive. So allowing you to work for less and not make that minimum wage has rippling effects all across society. This is slicing hairs at best. No, a $15 minimum wage. We can handle it. You're not going to work less. You're fine.
You will work less. I mean,
There's no evidence of that. You could. You could.
There's no evidence of that.
None.
All right. Well, I have read evidence of that, and I will make sure I get it to you.
But do you have like compared states?
Okay. Do I have what?
Do you have like states that didn't raise their minimum wage compared to states that have in terms of hours lost? Because even when they have cities side to side that one raises minimum wage, they don't have these issues. Minimum wage is so far below the standard of living and inflation for the last 30 years. It just doesn't have those effects. It could. I don't think it does.
I got you. Well, minimum wages have been used in the past to stop, in particular, minority workers from undercutting established workers. It's something that's happened a few times, and in fact, minimum wages, even originally here in the United States, were to keep a lot of the black carpenters and other construction workers from outbidding businesses in the North. So one of the ways they kept and kind of destroyed the whole construction business in the South was by putting in minimum wage laws and a lot of the other protectionist union laws that a lot of them we still have today, and some of them are even worse, were put into place on purpose to keep blacks out of the work market. And now with people pushing for it again, you're going to do that again. It's going to have the same effect, but I guess, but for better intentions.
I have no idea why you feel that the minimum wage was made to keep black people out of jobs. I don't see that connection one bit. How did you get that? I mean, the union didn't allow black people in there for a very long time. That was definitely tough for black people, and that was definitely shitty. But the minimum wage was made to keep black people out. How do you get that?
I've read papers about it and histories about it, and in particular, the people writing the laws pointing that out. It also happened in South Africa. The white farmers and construction workers put in, again, minimum wage laws to keep the African workers from outbidding them and taking their jobs. The ability to take a lower wage than somebody who's more skilled than you is a basic way that people with less skills compete with people with skills. And if you take that away, you don't give them their ability to underbid people with more skill. And when you do have systems that allow that, you end up not only bringing down your higher union house prices, but you also then slowly increase the prices of the lower bidders too. And you end up getting to a place where you find out what the actual price for the job is, because the two put pressure on each other towards a more equilibrium price in that market if you allow it to happen, which we don't with minimum wage laws and other union laws?
Yeah, I think you described the basic supply side economics. I think you've replaced will for could, and almost everything you said there, and many of it can go the other way. The idea that economics is an exact science is just not true. There's all kinds of economics and economic theorists that are really good, really intelligent, that 100% disagree with what you're saying.
True.
No, no, the minimum laws were not have anything to do with keeping black people out of work. That's just not historically accurate. Show a lot of proof on that if that's something you're going to say. That is not what happened with minimum wage. That was
other than
voting
no
for it,
hey,
it being
other
ran
than
on tickets and people also winning on those. And to say that that's keeping black people out without proof is, I won't tell you.
well, I mean, I could say the same thing. I mean, you just said no. That's not true. That's not really proof. So I mean, I could say the same thing. Well, I'll get you some info on that, and you can tell if
Well, I mean,
you
you're just saying basic
agree with it or not.
theories. Oh, sorry.
I thought I just that is. I thought that was one that was well known and documented, so I wasn't feeling
absolutely
like
not.
absolutely
Absolutely
not.
Your
Yeah,
economics. Oh, absolutely not.
I got you. Okay. Could be that I live in an economics bubble.
No, you live in a very specific economics bubble.
Which one is that? What do you mean?
You're very supply side economics and very libertarian. You're very free market. That's not
yes,
economics as a whole. That's specific economics for sure.
It's Austrian school economics is that what you mean? Austrian school economics with praxeology,
yes.
yeah, as opposed to the Keynesian economics that our current system runs on with MMT, modern monetary theory.
We're closer to a laissez-faire economics, if anything.
Huh. All right. I got you. This is one of those where I wish you were true. I mean, I wish you were right, but we're a pretty mixed economy now. I think we were more laissez-faire in the past. But the last 50, 60 years has been a real damage to the free market. And in particular, since like the early 1900s when the Federal Reserve was really brought in. So calling this a free market it's the freest market. I'll give you that. It is the freest market on the planet, but it's barely laissez-faire anymore.
We're definitely not a true free market. No, I don't think you could have one if you're going to mix it with any kind of government or any kind of group of people. You know,
a free market.
Not true capitalist. We're not true socialist. You know, all those things have varying degrees. I would say we're more laissez-faire than anything else for sure.
All right.